Mula, I'm DJ Toro. Join me every Monday to Thursday, 7 until midnight. The premium classics on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, USP settles allegations of abuse against Vice-Chancellor. Infant mortality rate worries health officials. And police investigate discrepancies within the Fiji Cancer Society. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and you're watching FBC News. The Vice-Chancellor of USP, Professor Rajesh Chandra, has been cleared of all allegations of corruption and abuse of authority. A group calling itself the USP Devoted IE for Justice had petitioned the USP Council for an inquiry into the alleged actions of Professor Chandra. Mikalonga with this exclusive story.
The 8 allegations by the lobby group, mainly alleging corruption, first surfaced in 2011.
When the petition came, a similar process was followed. It was taken to council and reported to council, and council had already dealt with that matter. So that's finished. There was one new one, and we dealt with it this time.
The new allegation, according to the Pro-Chancellor, had accused the VC of overstepping his delegated authority on certain financial decisions.
I put that to the Vice-Chancellor. The Vice-Chancellor responded in writing. All 9 supported the view that the Vice-Chancellor acted within his powers. The Council accepted the decision of the Executive Committee.
The decision has since been communicated to the group. Professor Chandra has been cleared.
I have written to Father Paunga. As far as we are concerned, yes, the matter has been settled.
The petition was distributed via email to students and staff of USP as well as the media.
That we believe is not the right way of going about it. I'm not quite sure why that was done. Well, in this case, we had an outside group, right, complaining about something that the USP was doing. They were not directly affected by what was happening. So if we had this policy in place, chances were that the petition would not even have been considered.
The Pro-Chancellor has assured that all the processes involved in the issues surrounding the Vice-Chancellor were transparent, were done according to the USP rules and regulations, were done without favour or any conflict of interest at all. A member of the group who doesn't want to be named says they will be responding to the Pro-Chancellor's comments. Mikalonga, FBC News.
The Health Ministry is concerned with the infant mortality rate in hospitals. As Chanel Sivan reports, one of the reasons for the high rate is the delay by expectant mothers in attending clinics or receiving medical care.
About 24 newborn die in Fiji's hospitals every year. A young mother who lost her first child and wishes to remain unidentified says she has learned her lesson and urges other moms to always seek medical help when complications arise.
Starting from Sunday, baby stopped moving, but I started having stomach cramps. From Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was my clinic. So when I went into the clinic, that was the result. They actually didn't find any heartbeat or anything.
You say it was your mistake, your baby died?
Yeah, I can say it's my mistake. If I could take back time and if I knew that something was wrong, that the stomach cramps wasn't normal, probably I'd go in sooner.
She says it is really hard for any mother to move on when her child is lost, and it was the worst experience in her life.
At least have a nurse that's there with you during the counting down of your pain during the delivery. Should have a nurse there to actually hold your hand, at least if they don't want your husbands or your partners to be there with you.
The head of gynecology at CWM Hospital in Suva, Dr. James Fong, says the hospital has good facilities, but mothers turn up late for clinics.
For CWM, most of our more recent cases have been from people coming in very late. Either they come in late because they did not recognize that they were in danger, or they recognized that they were in danger but there was no resources to bring them across earlier.
Dr. Fong says they are now developing a system that will keep track of all obstetric activities so that the number of complications is reduced. Chanal Shivan, FBC News.
The National Federation Party and the Social Democratic Liberal Party will declare their assets and liabilities tomorrow, as required under the political party's decree. Chanal Sivan again.
With just a day left for registered political parties to declare their assets and liabilities, the National Federation Party says they are ready.
Yes, it's required by the law. We have prepared all our requirements, answers to all the questions posed in the decree, and we are ready to file it by the deadline tomorrow. We are going to openly declare and abide by the law.
So you said there was no problem in declaring?
There is no problem in declaring the assets, liabilities as requested.
Pio Tambaiwalu of the Social Democratic Liberal Party also confirms they will make the required declarations.
According to the decree, we have to comply. There's a decree 4 in 11. So under the provisions of those decree, we have to declare assets and liabilities, not only for me, but for the other party officials. Some of us have assets and liabilities. Yes, we are pretty confident of declaring those, and of course what's in the bank account. Yeah, we are very transparent.
Party officials and candidates have to disclose their personal incomes, assets, business connections, dictatorship, gifts and expenditures. Chanal Shivan, FBC News.
Fiji should not rely on the European Union's arrangement for our sugar, says Australian economist Justin Smirk. Smirk says it is no secret that sugar output has been strained. Eleanor Turangaivu spoke with a visiting economist.
Fiji's sugar industry has been facing problems for some time now, resulting in low sugar production and the loss of income for our farmers.
To me, the difficulty of sugar is always going to be that if you want to sell a bulk commodity, you'll be competing against the cheap producers of the world, the Brazils in particular, and India. And so if you go into that market, you either got to be really productive or have really low labour costs, which means low incomes.
According to Smirk, while the current sugar arrangement with the EU can help the industry for now, getting other markets could work well for Fiji.
Current EU arrangements will help the transitional period if you can extend the EU arrangements and keep prices up. But I don't think Fiji should come to rely on those. They should look for alternatives that can lift higher value sugar products rather than just relying on the EU paying a higher price.
It's an interesting observation given that Fiji is hosting the International Sugar Organization meeting in Nandi, where there's much talk about agreeing to an economic partnership agreement with the EU. Smirk says Fiji's focus now should be on improving its productivity, infrastructure and value.
Producing the products, so lifting productivity, but also you've got to lift the final value. So if you want to have a sugar industry, you've got to start thinking about how you market it to get value add, higher value product.
Under its current contract, Fiji has to export around 220,000 tons of sugar in a year to the EU. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
The International Sugar Organization has criticized the European Union's funding of the Fiji sugar industry. The EU has supplied $136 million in assistance to sugarcane farmers over the past 7 years. As Christopher Chand reports, the ISO has questioned the EU's motives.
Last week, the EU highlighted how it spent millions to help farmers in Fiji.
I don't know where the money is going, but nothing went to sugar. And this, I think, is a point which has to be criticized, because you can't try to help the sugar industry get back to strength when you deprive them from the necessary means to take the necessary steps.
The Fiji Sugar Corporation says this funding doesn't go directly into the industry. Instead, NGOs use the money to help farmers find supplementary income.
When you only concentrate on one area, the danger really is that people will actually go away from the so-called core business of growing sugarcane. And that is a real danger that I see with the money that's coming in from the European Union.
Dr. Barron says Fiji needs foreign institutions like the EU to pump money directly into the sector.
It's a surprise that money comes into Fiji. Obviously money which should strengthen the economy of the country. And one of the biggest part of the economy, namely sugar, hasn't seen anything of it, you know. There's something unbalanced.
The European Union is yet to comment on these criticisms. In recent years, the EU has been funding diversification projects to help cushion the impact of the 36% drop in preferential sugar prices. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Coming up, good signs for the private sector as car sales look up.
I wake up in the morning, I prefer to go down to the gym, get a bit of physical work done. Also, later on in the day, I decide to go through for meditation. I do a bit of reading to find out what the latest songs are, a bit of research. And for me, it's all about the listeners.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rio, and this is the Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 o'clock to 7, only on Today FM. Today's hit music. What's up?
Nisambulo binaka oya wone kamanalangi oni nandorungo jiao mai na liwa kina rua na bisinga mai na moniti kina bagarumbuka na Radio Fiji wana ndoma ibiti bongani bionyano na makatalenga na benga ona sasibiani na tinna kaloka na bembongi ni bukilulu kena bima mani walu na bembongi ni bakarowai mai na mbuza ni balu ninge na maka.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. The Cybercrime Unit of the Fiji Police Force is investigating the loss of the administrative and financial records of the Fiji Cancer Society. Society Acting President Dr. Tukaha Moore earlier told FBC News that he had reported the loss to the police. Moore claims the records were entered into a private computer, which was erased by its owner. Police have confirmed seizing the computer and are working on retrieving the data. Meanwhile, the bank has frozen $500,000 held in the Cancer Society's account. This afternoon, WOW's executives met with Cancer Society officials over the matter. Archbishop-elect Father Peter Loy Chong says he is ready to serve and lead the Catholic Church in Fiji. Wasita Kotoiwasawasa reports on how Father Choi reflected on his calling before accepting the nomination.
6 months ago, Father Peter Loy Chong's life changed forever.
The phone rang in my study room at St. Teresa Church in Oakland, California. And the voice spoke and it said this, "Is this Father Peter Loy Chong?" And I answered, "Yes, it is." And straight away I knew that this is something out of the ordinary.
The Archbishop-elect says he was lost for words when he was told of his appointment.
He said this, "I wish to inform you that the Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, has appointed you as Archbishop of Suva." I was lost for words and could not really answer the nuncio's pronouncement at that time. And so I asked the nuncio if he could give me a few days to pray and reflect on my response.
Father Peter Loy says he will have big shoes to fill when taking on the reins and will rely on the support of outgoing Archbishop Petero Matada.
He also guided the church in a politically turbulent time. And so I certainly have big shoes to fill as I come into office.
Father Peter Loy will be ordained at the Vodafone Arena this Saturday and will be installed at the Sacred Heart Cathedral on Sunday. Wasita Kotiwasawasa, FBC News.
If you're seeing lots of new cars on the road, that's because more cars are being sold in Fiji than ever before. Motor vehicle sales have always been a healthy indicator of the economy, and the Finance Ministry is pleased with how the industry is doing. Akosita Tale with more.
New cars these days cost tens of thousands of dollars, so seeing more on the road means people's disposable income is growing.
Last year it was growing quite strongly from 2012. I know it was over 40%, the new car sales, and I think this year it's probably gone to 50% growth.
The Finance Ministry believes there is an explanation for how people are able to afford brand new cars, some of which are on the higher end of the scale.
So it's supportive of the 2.7% growth that we are forecasting for this year. It will be driven by that, the consumption by consumers, customers, which is related to, again, to the increased disposable income.
According to Wangambada, new car sales are just a portion of what Fijians spend on. Import figure indicates demand for white goods, luxury items and high-tech gadgets is also growing.
VAT collection, and that has also been increasing by over 20%. And we also look at the importation of consumption goods to Fiji, and that has also increased.
Second-hand vehicle sales are also increasing, often preferred by middle-income families that can't afford brand-new cars. Akusita Talei, FBC News.
Vision Motors Limited will soon introduce American-made Chevrolet vehicles in Fiji. General Manager Ajay Lal says they're constructing a Chevrolet purpose-built facility with a showroom, after-sales service support center, customer dome and administration center. Lal says once the groundwork is complete, they will bring in the Chevys. However, there is no date for when sales will begin. Lal says the price of the vehicles will be subject to the final model variants selected for Fiji. The general manager adds Vision Motors will be the sole distributor of Chevrolet vehicles in Fiji. The Fiji Crop and Livestock Council is holding its first workshop to share ideas on the beef industry. Peter Coleman runs the Sarami farm in Vanuatu, a highly successful cattle farm. He's here to share his story about how to make the best of the beef industry here. The FCLC is also urging successful farmers to make the most of this opportunity.
It's made up of private sector farmers who are successful business farmers, and the idea was to bring in their ideas and their successes and work with government to grow our agriculture in Fiji.
Coleman will also hold a similar workshop in the Northern Division. That time again, Jamie joins us now with the day's sports, and it wasn't a good day for rugby, was it?
No, it wasn't, Jackie. We had an indisciplined under-20 side that went down to New Zealand early this morning. And later on, it was our flying Fijians that succumbed to Canada. So all in all, Jackie, not a good day in the park for the FRU. We'll check out our standing in the PNC after the break. And finally, an answer for Lambasa football. Stay with us to find out what Fiji FA has decided.
Isambolo binaka, na dango wadi soni nalai, na makio mani wasini ngono borota kina lali ne kabi, mai na tolu kina bitu, ena moni tingina por rombuka, ena Mbula FM, na bandu ena serre.
सूरज की पहली किरण के साथ दिन की शुरुआत कीजिए। सुबह का मंगल प्रभात आपको शुभ हो। सुबह सुबह हो खुशियों का मेला, ना लोगों की परवाह ना दुनिया का झमेला, पंछियों का संगीत हो और मौसम अलबेला। मुबारक हो आपको ये खूबसूरत सवेरा। हर सोमवार से लेकर शुक्रवार तक सुबह 6 से लेकर 9 बजे तक शामिल रहें रेडियो फिजी 2 पर हम सफर में रविंद्र सिंह के साथ।
Welcome back. You're watching FBC Sports. As mentioned earlier, the Flying Fijians lost to Canada this morning in the Pacific Nations Cup. Despite 2 tries from Nemani Nandolo and Akapu Singera, the side fell short and were beaten 20-18 by the hosts. The result means Fiji is now placed second on the points table, 2 points behind Canada. Meanwhile, the baby flying Fijians will find out later this week if Sevanai Ngalala and William Erarasea will be able to play further in the Junior Rugby World Cup. The two were shown red cards in the 59-6 loss to New Zealand this morning for foul play and will need to face the judiciary. 3 other players in Nasoni Kunavore, Sunyata Mani and Timilai Rokonduru were all shown yellow cards in the match. And bad news for all the Lambasa soccer fans. Lambasa will not be able to field any of its overseas-based players in the Vodafone Fiji Effect. The Bambasing Alliance had wanted to field Ilaitia Tuilau, Madhiun Dunandamu, Daniela Wanga, Pitambole Tonga and Wirawama in the tournament. However, as Interesting reports, Fiji football has decided otherwise.
Days of drama has finally come to an end. This as the Fiji Football Association today ruled Lambasa can't field any of its overseas-based players until the next transfer window.
It's very clear. A player can only be registered with one club at a time during the window period. And if a player would like to transfer his ITC, the ITC has to be within the window period, and then only a player can be registered. And that's very clear. You know, it's players registered at one association may only be registered at a new association once the latter has received an international transfer clearance from the former association.
Coupled with this, Fiji FA has failed to receive the relevant release details for the players on time. This means the parent body has resorted to making a full-stop decision.
If the player is still playing and he hasn't received his ITC, then how can he be cleared in this window period and play for Lambasa? That is something that Lambasa Football Association should have known. The player needs to get an ITC and have it cleared before the window period closes.
Patel says the decision was in no way gross injustice to the Bambasig Alliance.
It is not a question of Lambasa players or players from anywhere. It is a question of player transferring within the window period and getting registered. It happens to be Lambasa players, and they kept on playing for Hekari after the transfer window closed.
Lambasa will now have to make do with its current crop of players for the Fiji Fect. Maybe this will just provide an added boost for the side to prove everyone wrong. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Well, the Lambasa fans might be feeling down about that decision, but the gloomy weather has done very little to dampen the spirits of golfers competing at the Fiji Golf Open at Vatuanga. With competition in its second day, the leaders have been established in both the professional and amateur categories. Selvin Chand was at the greens.
Ryan Fawkes had some problems with his putting, but that didn't bother him much as he racked up a commanding score that could see him retain the professional title.
Really got in that Ndola, and it was sort of the first tournament I've played all right in this year, and yeah, played all right at Shangri-La, and then today I've obviously got some history here, and I like playing the golf course and continue my good form around here.
Some golfers went on playing their normal game, unfazed by the wet and windy conditions.
The course I play in, or the weather, it's really windy and rain. We don't really get much rain in Oklahoma, but yeah, I mean the wind's probably stronger than here, so it's okay.
Last year's amateur winner Arunesh Chandra hopes to be able to pick up his game in the next 3 days.
Actually didn't prepare well, had some more commitment, but no complaints. Got another 3 days to go, and hopes things fall in part.
Ryan Fawkes leads the professionals, while it's Sam Lee leading the amateur pack. And as these gentlemen have put it, anything can happen in the next 3 days. Golf is a game as unpredictable as the weather. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
Taekwondo Fiji has stepped up its campaign for glory at the Pacific Mini Games in Wallace and Futuna. Training has intensified for the Fiji reps as the sport searches for the gold medal that has eluded them in the past. Shalvin Chand has more.
Fiji was only able to attain a silver medal at the last regional meet, the Pacific Games in New Caledonia. Taekwondo has since set their sights on attaining the top prize on offer in the region.
Pacific Mini Games is on track, and these guys are training with our technical expert from Korea twice a day now. So things are on track from our side.
Taekwondo Fiji has a plan, and they believe if they stick to it, they will be able to achieve their goals.
The training doesn't stop. In fact, it just gets tougher. Just before we leave, we slow down things so that players can recuperate, and just from there we'll just be focusing on our technical stuff.
One athlete who was with the Fiji team in the last Pacific Games believes the team has been able to get things right.
We are training a lot more harder for these games. It's really important to us. Our main problem is we are not very lucky to get gold medals in the previous games, but this one we really want to take a clean sweep and win all gold medals.
Taekwondo Fiji was also given a boost last night as mobile service providers Vodafone has jumped on board as sponsors, aiding them to fulfill their levy requirements for the mini games. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
That's your sports for tonight. Jackie's up next with business.
HFC today launched 2 deposit products, the HFC Investor Return Deposit and HFC Insured Term Deposit. Investor Return Deposit is a term deposit product based on profit sharing at a rate of 3.6% per annum. The HFC Term Deposit comes with an added insurance package for immediate needs in case of death. Finance Permanent Secretary Philemon Wangabadha says these products are unique to the Fiji market.
To also ensure that we work towards growing our financial system to become the hub in the region. And for that to happen, we need to introduce products in the market that our investors, that our people can enjoy.
For both accounts, investments range from $500 to $250,000. Time for weather now, and Jen, I'm sure you wouldn't mind driving around in the rain if you had a brand new Chevrolet.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't mind, Jackie, if I actually did know how to drive. Riding in one around the west, though, would have been awesome since it was nice and sunny today. In the meantime, the rest of the country had some rain throughout the day. Today's temperature sees Ba with the highest at 32 degrees, while the Hidden Paradise was the lowest at 28. Tomorrow, Lautoka, Nandi and Ba are going to have some sun in the morning and rain in the afternoon. Brief showers throughout the day are forecast for the other major centers. Photo time now, and we have Ash from Suva to thank for this stunning sunset. This was taken opposite the Civic Center in the capital city. And that's my cue to go, but before I do, remember to stay camera happy and keep those photos coming. Good night.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. And the headlines once again. The University of the South Pacific has cleared Vice Chancellor Professor Rajesh Chandra of allegations of abuse of office. Infant mortality rate worries health officials, and police are now investigating discrepancies in the Fiji Cancer Society. To the poll question now, and we ask, can Fiji win the Pacific Nations Cup? To answer, as always, visit our FBC website. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That's news tonight. See you tomorrow.
नमस्ते दोस्तों, मिर्ची रफ्तार से मैं अश्निल सिंह। शामिल हो जाइए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे फ्रॉम 3 to 7 PM।